honestly, that's the problem. It's so punched in.
What is the budget for her?
Oh, sorry. Yeah.
Hello, everyone. A couple quick housekeeping. Planning is over in the conference room. So if anyone's here for the planning meeting, it's in the conference room. And we would welcome everyone to our finance meeting. I'm going to wait to see if our clerk has the tape going. All set. Thank you, Jimmy. We're all set. Beautiful. I will ask everyone to stand for the Pledge of Allegiance, and if Frank Natale could lead us in the pledge.
I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
All right. Thank you all for joining us. We'll call the finance meeting. Roll call. Councilmember Gully.
Present.
Councilmember Garrett. Present. Councilmember Parator. Here. Councilmember Cummings.
Here.
Councilmember December.
Present.
Councilmember Kennedy. Absent. So we have 6 here, 1 absent. We are going to go right into the public forum, and what I would ask folks, there is a sign-up sheet, but maybe, Jim, do you mind grabbing the sign-up sheet? And if you did not sign up, you still can speak. It's right in the back. It's a green paper. Thank you. And we'll go by the sign-up sheet, and then if other folks would like to speak, that's fine too. The public forum is for anything on the finance meeting agenda. So you can speak on any item on the agenda this evening. And I will await the sheet, and then we'll get rolling.
Last chance.
Oh, and they're fine if they come up, Jim. They don't have to start. Jim, if you could grab it, we'll get ready.
Well,
Thanks.
ready for finish.
Thank you, Maura. New comments. Maura, thanks for bringing this up. All right, beautiful. Thank you, Councilmember Gully. You're wonderful. All right, first on the list, we have Frank Natale. Frank. And if you could just state your name, your address, and roll away. You have 5 minutes. Thank you very much.
My name is Frank Natale. I'm actually a resident of the city of Schenectady. But first I want to say I rise in favor of Resolution 72. My name is Frank Natale. I'm a business representative and a member of the Plumbers, Steam Fitters, and HVAC Technicians Local 7. Local 7's jurisdiction extends the Capital Region. And I also am a member of the Greater Capital Region Building and Construction Trade Council, which covers the Greater Capital Region area. Lastly, I graduated from Local 7's 5-year apprenticeship program some decades ago, so I'm a product of that training. First, I want to thank the Finance Committee for considering Resolution 72. A couple of points and features about apprenticeship programs that I'd like to talk about. In my experience, it is generally true that when the public has an understanding of apprenticeship programs and the value they provide local communities, citizens support them overwhelmingly. Specifically, I will speak about Local 7's apprentice program, which I am most familiar with, but understand that the building trades apprentice programs all share the same framework and are certified by the state of New York. Local 7's apprenticeship programs, we train plumbers, pipe fitters, pipe welders, HVAC and refrigeration technicians. And like I said, we are part of the building trades. We install all types of mechanical piping systems, whatever size, complexity, or design. Our program is a 5-year program that requires students to attend formal classroom instructions and on-the-job training. You earn as you learn, we say. So when a student gets accepted into our program, they go out on the job, they start getting paid right away with benefits. Currently, we have 140 apprentices in our program who live and work locally. Apprentices pay no tuition, nor is there a cost to taxpayers. Our completion rate is 85 to 90%. Most likely those who graduate from the program will make the trade their career. The apprenticeship program ensures there is no race or gender wage inequality. Approximately 35 local businesses support Local 7's apprenticeship program because they say the program contributes to the success, profitability, and longevity of their businesses. So to recap, local jobs, apprenticeship programs provide local jobs and middle-class career opportunities for local residents. It ensures a trained and ready local workforce. This is essential in attracting investors, developers, and larger contractors to the area. All factors that help to stimulate local economies and grow communities. Apprenticeships mitigate the skilled trade shortage we've all been reading about, in which the federal government has expressed their concern. For these reasons and the support of local jobs and careers, we ask for your approval this amendment that will support New York State certified apprenticeship programs. Thank you.
Frank, thank you. Very quickly, a couple council members raised that there is a concern or maybe something they don't like about the bill. So I would just ask that you do not leave when we get to the bill. If we do have questions, we'd like to hear.
I'm
Okay,
here for the duration.
beautiful. Thank you. All right. Next, we have Joseph Shannon. Shannon Joseph. I am so sorry.
Two first names.
Oh my gosh, I love it. I'm so sorry,
Don't be
Shannon.
sorry.
Welcome. Thank you.
My name is Shannon Joseph. I'm here representing Local 7, and I'm in full support of the resolution number 72. And I ask that everyone votes yes. And the reason being is, for me personally, it made a major impact on me and my children's life. With that being said, I am a single mother. And when times got rough, I always get emotional. Times got hard for me, and I didn't really know where I was going, especially without a college education. So when it was brought to my attention that I could go through this apprenticeship without having to owe money back and learn a trade that would be financially adequate for me to raise my children alone, I of course took full advantage of the opportunity, and I encourage other people like myself to do so as well. I love what I do. I guess I can honestly say the hardest part about my day's work is getting my butt up and getting out of bed to go to work. And that's about 75% of the battle. After that, it's like a walk in the park. And I can confidently say that I'm getting better. I'm learning every day. And the things like I didn't know fitting from a hole in a wall when I started this apprenticeship. And a lot of things as being a welder, once they see me like a weld, that's pretty much what they had me do, which is great. But what this apprenticeship allows the opportunity for us to be taught things in this trade. So then when we're out in the field, we're able to resort back to what we learned in school to be able to apply it to what we're doing every day and be confident in what we do and do a good job. And it means the world to me, and my kids share the benefits from it. So I encourage everyone to vote yes for this resolution number 72.
Thank you,
for
Shannon.
allowing me.
Shannon, I'm super impressed welding.
Thank you.
Believe me, that's a tough trade.
Thank
Next,
you.
you're welcome, you're welcome. Next.
She's nervous. So she's.
You did good, Shannon.
Thank you.
We will not be offended.
Hi, Rodney Wertschreider, 47 Brunswick Road, Troy, New York. So I'm really happy to see this language and this resolution being presented tonight. I believe that it is long overdue. It's something that, you know, as many of us here who've been involved in government have always been pushing for jobs here in Troy and the availability for our youth to have a path to a career that makes sense and something that they can do. We have Hudson Valley Community College here, which is teaching many of the components of the building trades. And then you look at the city of Troy, and we don't have the opportunities for them to get involved. You have the building trades and the different labor organizations that are represented here tonight that have their own training facilities and have their own apprenticeship program. And again, you've got people who live in this blue-collar town that we are here in Troy, and we do not have an opportunity to put those skills and bring that pride back home to the place that we live, the place that we are growing up. You know how upsetting it is when you see many of the people who are living and spending their tax dollars here, building their homes and their families here, and they drive over the bridge to go to work on a job site that isn't here in their hometown in the city of Troy. We've heard the administration talk greatly about all of the wonderful development that is happening here in Troy. And you can see that. It's advertised in the newspapers, it's reported on TV, but most of it is not being done with local work. Most of it is not being done by the unions and the trades that are here. And in many cases, it's being done in a very shoddy way, without safety standards, without adherence to time schedules, or keeping things on budget. The biggest thing I'd like to point out in that case, as we're right here today, is the pool project. That was handled mostly by out-of-state contractors, and certainly not people who had a project labor agreement or an apprenticeship program here registered in the state of New York. And there was no opportunity for local craftspeople to actually get their hands dirty and have an ability to work on this project that is one of the keystones and the gems, if you will, in this year's development. We've got projects coming up that we know about, whether it's the redevelopment of One Monument Square or continued work on the seawall. Plenty of other projects that are going to happen here within the municipal realm of the city of Troy, possibly redevelopment of the Knickerbocker pool, rehabbing the ice rink up at the Knickerbocker Arena. So we've got things that we can see right now that are going to be happening, and we need to make sure that local work is being employed here and it's being done in a safe manner, and that our tax dollars that we're all pouring into this government are being spent and shared here locally. So 4 years ago, when we put this out as a project labor agreement program, it was done in a bipartisan manner. I remember Jim Gordon and myself worked together on this, and unfortunately it had a sunset clause, and that agreement dissipated. It really never had an opportunity to be used. I'm not even sure if it was used. I believe possibly it was used in the court project. Maybe somebody can fill me in.
I'm not sure.
Not
We'll
sure?
find out.
Yeah, but there are plenty of missed opportunities that we have missed over the past 4 years. And I'm happy to see that there's no sunset clause in this program. It's a step in the right direction. I'm also happy to see that the threshold, the dollar threshold, is lowered. So, you know, I think that honestly, anytime tax dollars are being spent, this should be enforced and used. So, but I am happy to see it's lower than the $200,000 that we originally had it at. So I applaud you. I really encourage you, if you are in a seat right now and you're able to make a decision tonight and push this through the agenda so that it can get on the books, because we've got things that are starting up. So this is a really tremendous, great opportunity for you as legislators sitting here tonight to put your money where your mouth is and bring some jobs here to Troy, bring some safe jobs and training here into this city, and put this through, again, in a bipartisan method, and get this done. So I just want to encourage you to pass this. I'm very grateful to see it on the agenda tonight, and I think it's a great thing. Thank you very much.
Awesome. Thank you, Rodney. Next, we have, and I apologize if I missed his name, Yordono Barrios. Good?
Yes, ma'am.
All right. Hi.
How you doing, ma'am?
Good. You can pull it right down, yeah, or pull it out, whatever works for you.
I
Thank
get
you.
too comfortable. My name is Mr. Jordan Barrows. I'm with the local 241 roofers. I also live currently in Troy. I'm actually from Troy. I'm raised and born here. I'm actually a 10-year vet. I got out of the Army last year, and when I came home last year, it was kind of hard for me to look for a job. So I was without a job for like 10 months. I ran into my business agent, Michael Rossi, at the CEO for a job fair. And he's like, hey, you should join the union. I was like, I'll give it a try. I don't know how it is. You know, I'm not used to civilian jobs. So I'll give it a try. I've been in the apprenticeship program for 4 months. And I can actually say it's a world of many things, many trades, many skills, brotherhood, sisterhood. You get to know a lot of things as you go to day-to-day, 9-to-5 job, first shift, second shift, depending on the job or the company that you work for. I say this is a great opportunity for locals or anybody out of other counties to join, because just as well as you're going to work, you're getting paid for it. You're at the same time you go to school once a year, so it's not like you're learning at the job site. You get to go to the educational building and go at the same time. Foremans and journeymen's, they'll teach you. You ask questions every day. Me, I'm constantly asking questions, but that's embedded in a soldier to ask questions to get trained better, stuff like that. So I have that mentality to get to know the mission so I can be successful at the end of the day. So I say this is a great development, a great foundation as an apprenticeship program for all trades, not just through Local 41, roofing, painting, carpenter, sheet metal. You know, I'm working at the E-Tech and soon by the state offices right now. And as I'm doing roofing, I'm also learning visual learner at all these other trades. So we all work together to make one big project. So I hope you guys pass this at the end of the night. God bless you guys. Thank you.
Thank you. Thank you for your service. Thank you for your service. Talia Maldonado. Hey, Talia.
How are you?
I'm awesome. How are
Nice
you?
to see you.
Good to see you.
Well, my name's Talia Maldonado. I live on Pinewoods Ave in Troy. I've lived there my whole life, born and raised, and I am part of Local 201, finishing trades. I just started about 4 months ago, and it's like the best thing ever. I was working at Planet Fitness before that, and I was training 2 gentlemen, a carpenter and a painter. They started talking it up to me because I've never really felt comfortable. I've always felt on my toes, bouncing around, trying to save for school. In between working full-time, I've been working full-time ever since I could. And I think this is an amazing opportunity because I finally feel safe and secure. And I was always worried about not going to school, and now I have that as an opportunity as well. And it's not putting me, you know, you hear college kids are like, oh, I'm so stressed, I'm so broke, you know. I'm
My son.
But it's, although I've only been part of it for a short amount of time, I feel so comfortable. I feel like it can lead to so many different great things, and I learn so much every day. Everyone takes care of me, and I feel like it's a home to be at. So I think it would be a great opportunity for everyone here, everyone in Troy.
Thank you so much,
No,
Talia.
thank you.
Thank you. We have Carrie Connors. I know. I love it. I'm getting chills. Girl power.
It's Karen Connors, I'm with the local 201, District Council 9, Finished Trades Painters Union. Address is 1000 Second Avenue, Lansingburg. Third generation, born Troy. My grandfather was also a painter and carpenter. My uncles. Needless to say, it was a little bit late in life. I did Hudson Valley and got my associates loan. I'll hopefully pay off before I die. And never an associate's degree I'll never use. I got probably a little older than the average into the union. I'm mid-40s, but as I was told, there's many different directions you can go once you're in the union. I do love painting. I've been doing that on and off for about 20 years. It's definitely a liberating feeling getting sworn in. It's a sense of independence, sense of financial security. I just actually got laid off yesterday, and it felt so good to give the union a call and just let them know, and have Roy Casey tell me that they'll work on getting me a job as soon as possible.
How many names are in the book?
I mean,
How many names are on the book?
I have no idea.
Okay. Hopefully you're up to, 3.
3.
Awesome. You're good. You're good.
Yeah, so I'm hoping to, but at least that security is there, and it's really important to me. It's actually having jobs in Troy that where I grew up in and where my family still lives is pretty important.
That's awesome.
So,
Thank you.
thank you.
Thank you, Karen. Would anyone else like to speak on any item on the agenda? We have a gentleman and Eric. Hi there.
Hey, how you doing?
Good. How are you?
My name is John Larkins.
Larkins.
Yes, ma'am.
Nice to meet you.
I would just like to start.
Oh, just your address.
Oh, my address. I am not currently
It's okay.
a resident, but earlier this year I was, and my grandmother was
You're fine.
yeah, okay. I love Troy. I just
Yeah.
want to
I've
put
met
that out there. Yeah, we've met before. So anyways, I just want to say that this apprenticeship in Local 291, New England Regional Council of Carpenters, has been the best thing to happen in my lifetime. I haven't had kids yet, so maybe that will be the best. It's close though. It's close. But anyway, I was working Lyft, Uber, Instacart. I was working overnight chef. Just a lot, and the amount of opportunity that the Carpenters Union has given me is amazing. I was just over on 101st looking at a foreclosed building for $19,000. So I think this bill helps the residents and the city in so many different ways, because not only do I get the skills and the trade, and I can retire, and I can have health care, and I don't have to work 80 hours anymore. But then I can reinvest into my community, which is the important part. And I wouldn't be able to do that. I wouldn't have the skills to do that. I wouldn't have the financial backing to do that unless I was with a trade union. So I'm just very thankful for that. I was a smart kid. I just didn't have the financial resources to stay in college. I could get the grants and everything, but I had to work, and it was so hard carrying that work loaded class, and then also having to worry about feeding yourself, gas, insurance, rent. It was just overwhelming, and I couldn't break through to the next level without the Carpenters Union. So I just want to thank you, and then just really hope that you would consider this bill. For me, it's pretty easy. It's a win-win. But yeah, thank you for listening.
No problem. Thank you so much, Karen. I know Eric's next, and then we'll hit you. Thank you.
Eric Wisher, 30 Fairfield Road, President of Troy Uniform Firefighter Association.
I think the city supports apprenticeship programs now, right? In fire service, we have an apprenticeship. It's an academy for our guys, right? So we promote safe conditions, good working techniques, right? And the guys, the young guys, they work side by side with experienced firefighters. So we're asking the same thing here. Maybe not the same job, but it's the same thing, right? And that's what the union's there for, is to make sure that people are working safe, have safe conditions, good techniques, right? And if we instill it at an early age in somebody, right, they practice those techniques for the rest of their life. And we've heard some good speakers here, right, that it's done good for them through their life. So we would support resolution 72. We're in favor of that. Thank you.
Thank you, Aaron. Hi, Aaron.
Hello,
Hi.
my name is Kevin Chesterfield. I do reside in Clifton Park, but my job is I'm the training director of the Tri-City Joint Apprenticeship Training Committee. We are in association with the International Brotherhood of Electrical Workers and the National Electrical Contractors Association, Albany chapter. When I heard about Resolution 72, I felt I needed to speak and be here to tell you the importance of apprenticeship. I only had 2 or 3 days notice. I just walked around my classrooms and I walked into a couple of them, talked to some of my apprentices that reside in the city of Troy, and I got a half a dozen of them who were willing to all come today and just show support for this resolution. Every one of them is an apprentice. Every one of them was serving an apprenticeship. They're mostly older years. I didn't go to the younger years. I went to our 3rd, 4th, and 5th classes to get them. So some of them were getting ready to top out. I guess what I might want to do, if you don't mind, is just point out some of the benefits
Please.
of apprenticeship.
Yeah.
Apprenticeship, it's a process of learning a skilled trade through classroom and technical instruction, as well as supervised on-the-job training. Upon graduation, apprentices are certified by the state of New York as qualified journey persons in their trade concentration. Apprentices offer local residents, youth, veterans, minorities the opportunity to learn a skilled trade and obtain employment while earning wages in the process. Apprentices pay no tuition costs and graduate debt-free. This type of educational opportunity is now offered by any other educational institution in existence today. Apprenticeship programs, they offer a clear path to the middle class. A sustainable career with good pay and benefits, and a lifelong support and learning opportunities. Apprentices are put to work immediately, earning money that is directly infused into the local economy. Apprentices spend their earnings where they live. Apprenticeships foster responsibility and engage citizenship. And many apprentices volunteer in their communities and participate in local politics. Apprenticeship programs require no financial or operating support from local government. In addition to costing no tax dollars, apprenticeships play a critical role in developing and maintaining a local, skilled, and ready workforce that investors, developers, and contractors highly value. When determining project viability, an unprepared, untrained local workforce drives investors and developers away to seek other project locations. So in summary, apprenticeship programs are inclusive, not exclusive. They provide real and long-term economic opportunity for individuals throughout our community at no cost to the taxpayers. So I strongly would recommend adopting Resolution 72. Your residents that are in our apprenticeship program will probably agree with me.
Awesome.
Thank you.
Thank you. Council member?
I just wanted to make a point. The gentleman that was speaking last just brought up that he only had 2 to 3 days notice for this legislation. I want to agree with him that I also only had 2 to 3 days notice for this legislation. I think you, as the leader of this body, that's extremely inappropriate, especially for something of this magnitude. We don't know who you've reached out with and what kind of work you've done on this legislation. So I just want to point out to everybody in the crowd, we're going to keep working on this legislation internally. And I do appreciate everybody coming out tonight, but we do want to hear everything you have to say. We're definitely supportive of this resolution, but the fact that it was brought upon us less than 7 days notice, I believe is the council president is out of line in her role as the leader of the council. But we're going to keep working on this internally, so I just wanted to bring that up before everyone keeps speaking.
That's great. It is on the agenda, folks. Please feel free to speak. This is what you're recognizing. Politics has worse. Go ahead, sir.
I appreciate it. First of all, I'd like to thank you all for your time and coming out. Second, I'd like to piggyback off of
Do
Shannon.
you mind, you can pull it right out, perfect,
Can you hear me?
thank you, yep, thank you.
First, I'd like to piggyback off of what Shannon said earlier about, providing opportunity for healthcare for children and things like that. Me personally, growing up, I didn't have healthcare or anything because my mom worked hard. She just honestly couldn't afford it. Being in the apprenticeship actually was the first time I could provide healthcare on my own through, honestly, a program that I don't even have to touch. It doesn't come out of my paycheck. I see my paycheck and my benefits go into a separate account all on their own. I am a current resident of Troy. I live on 6th Ave, and I currently coach a Pop Warner program down in Troy. So I'm trying my best to give back to the community, and the apprenticeship honestly did wonders for me in the sense of my coach got me into the apprenticeship program. I had no idea what I wanted to do after college, or honestly, I did a semester of college, and I knew right off the bat, I did not want to dig that hole for myself deeper. I paid back what I owe, and thank God, honestly, that's all I owe. The apprenticeship program gives me the opportunity to learn, pay bills, have health insurance, and the time to give back to my community and coaching Pop Warner. And I played football all my life. I love to play football, and I love to teach other kids football. And when I see these kids, honestly, I didn't pay attention to the news too much. But now when I see somebody was found dead or someone got shot, I start to think about these kids, or maybe, when they grow up, what these kids might get into. And providing an apprenticeship program to Troy, in the city of Troy, would give my Pop Warner kids an opportunity after school to get into something with their hands on. Because most of them I can see now are just like me. They're going to get into college. It's going to be a little overwhelming, and they're going to drop right out. And I had the opportunity to either go the wrong route or grind it out. I chose to grind it out with Taco Bell, Center for Disabled, and other kind of jobs that also gave me an opportunity to help other people. This honestly was like a dream come true in the sense of I only work 40 hours a week, like John said. I have health insurance benefits like Shannon. I don't have kids, but my benefits help Shannon provide health care for her kids. So it's not too expensive for her. And, when I think about the kids that I coach, I really hope that they do have an avenue to work in their community and give back and maybe do the same thing that I can do for them. And you passing this bill would honestly give them one more avenue. So if you could, I'd appreciate you giving it a second thought. Thank you for your time.
Thank you.
Great job.
Just so folks are aware, you want to see how bad politics sometimes can be in Troy. Council members have had this agenda since Friday. A couple of days ago, 2 days ago, in fact, we received an agenda item for $1.3 million of a settlement. But the council member, for some reason, picked Pioneer Apprenticeship Program. But it's okay to spend the taxpayer dollars of $1.3 million. It's politics at its worst. Go ahead, sir.
Good evening. My name is Dominic Crucio. I live in Troy, Hialeah Drive, lifelong resident. Graduate of Lansingburg High School in 2010. I'm a fifth-year apprentice in International Brotherhood of Electrical Workers 236, and I'm on track to graduate in May. The only way to describe the opportunity of apprenticeship is life-changing. I used to deliver parts for DLC Electric back in 2014, wondering what all this stuff was. And now I'm finally putting knowledge to it. I learned about the apprenticeship through guys that I'd be delivering the material to, and 5 years later, I couldn't be happy with the position I'm in. I'm excited for what the future holds and learning something new every day. Even guys who've been in for 20, 30 years say they see new things every day. You earn a great wage, great benefits that are hard to come by. And I ask that you vote yes for Resolution 72 in support of apprenticeship.
Thank you, Dominic. Are you related to Brian and the whole gang and Mark?
Yeah, that's my cousin. My father's Mark.
All right, awesome. You look like him. Sorry. Hi, sir.
Hi, I'm Herb Pennings. I'm president of the Troy Area Labor Council. And we represent 10,000 workers and working families in Rensselaer County. And we are in favor of the apprenticeship program. We were in favor of the apprenticeship program the last time it was passed several years ago, and unfortunately it sunsetted, and we are very happy that finally there's a chance that this program will come forth again in Troy. We have worked on it for several years. We have spoken to several of you, and we have continuously, asked you to bring this forward and to get a resolution and a law in the city of Troy to bring back the apprenticeship program because it is needed. You've heard a number of people testify as to how the apprenticeship program affected them directly. This is something that is good for Troy, good for Rensselaer County, and good for the entire capital district. And we believe that this should be set forward again in Troy. Thank you.
Thank you, sir. Anyone else like to speak? Hi there.
Thank you, council members. My name is Christian Mager. I'll make this short for you guys. I'm a fourth-generation Trojan. I've had my great-grandfather, my grandparents, my parents, my brother. We all grew up in the city of Troy. My brother owns a business in Troy. My grandmother owned one for 40 years, as well as my mother. I just wanted to speak on behalf of my own personal experience. I didn't get into the apprenticeship until I was late in age, so I was 29. And it was a very scary point in my life because I was at the crossroads where I didn't know where I was going to go. Through the help of the JATC, my instructors, Carrie, and as well as all the journeymen and the other trade members that I work with every day, has opened up a new door to me. It's given me a personal sense of pride, craftsmanship, and attitude towards the work I go to every day. I think it would be beneficial to not only the residents of Troy, to the actual whole city of Troy itself, to have this craftsmanship through all the apprenticeships and the labor unions that we have forever. Thank you.
Thank you. Would anyone else like to speak on any item? Hi there.
Timothy Leonard, 177 4th Street. Thank you for giving us the opportunity to speak. Besides the fact that, I'm with Local 236, IBEW. Besides the fact that it is an incredibly amazing training program where you learn on the job and in school. They push safety to the point so far beyond non-union contractors. I worked non-union for 2 years out in California. I had to drive three different people on separate incidents to the hospital because the contractor didn't want to call an ambulance. Now that I'm with Local 236, that will never happen again. And I'm very confident in saying that. We have an incredible program. These guys I work with are amazing. They're top notch. You learn more than you could possibly imagine with these group of guys. And I just like to really want you guys to consider passing this. This will do huge things for Troy. I got a family of 4 that I can support through this program. This has done amazing things for my personal life and for the lives of my brothers and sisters. Thank you.
Thank you very much. Hello there.
Hi, how are you?
Good.
So I was going to sit there contently, not to say anything, just watch. My name is Jeff Stark. I'm president of the building trades here in the capital region. I am from Amsterdam. I love coming to Troy because of its rich history, especially regarding labor. It's actually for the Painters Union where I come out of. It was the original home of Local 11, which was the 11th local in our international. And we've done a lot of work here. I just wanted to talk about a couple things as president of the building trades, and greatest job in the world, by the way, that you don't get paid for. But what makes it so great is that 14 member unions actually elect you to speak on their behalf and advocate, which that makes it really worth it, because for me, when I come to an event like this and we see these young people come up fearlessly with the microphone, speak so eloquently how the union has changed their life, it really makes it worth it for me. So I do want to, the reason I wanted to step to the microphone is like, look, we all agree the apprenticeship programs are great and union jobs are great because of their good pay and wages and benefits, and we all agree on that. And it's really nice, I don't know all of you, but it's really nice to come into a room where I know that I have supporters like Mr. Cummings, Mr. December, and Carmela, and Jim, that have long advocated for apprenticeship programs here. And so let me first thank you for your support and hopefully tonight. I want to say that about a decade ago, I was one of the original authors of the apprenticeship bill. I will tell you, it hasn't changed much over the last decade. We have learned things. There's dozens and dozens of municipalities that have passed this. We've learned a few things and we've added a few twists along the way. But the bill that you have, the resolution you have, has been reviewed by many corporate attorneys, many municipal attorneys. As far as its legal form, it's 100% in alignment with 816B of the labor law. It's been reviewed by labor lawyers and, you know, systemically for the bill, there's nothing wrong with it. It doesn't need work. Maybe an amendment here and there that gets tweaked for certain reasons. But, you know, for the bill itself, there's technically nothing wrong with it. Now, why would you want it? Is it going to save you money? No, it's not going to save you money. Is it going to cost you money? Nope, it's not going to cost you money. What it's going to do is when your work is out there, it's going to give you some degree of not just the lowest bid, but the lowest responsible bid. Responsible is different. To me, a responsible contractor pays his workers the wage that you have to pay, prevailing wage, all the time, not just sometimes. Why would you want a contractor that was paying his people $20 an hour yesterday, but today, because of the public bidding law, has to pay them $50 an hour? Same reason you don't go to your next door neighbor and have him put brakes on your car because he can do it for $20. That's the. Why would you want to reward that contractor? Because the truth of it is, contractors that have apprenticeship programs are most likely local contractors. And guess who they employ? Local people. And when they get a job in your neighborhood, they don't send the workers that are working for them from Amsterdam. They send them from the places that are closest because it's more economical. And even if it's a contractor from out of state that comes and has an apprenticeship agreement with me, there's agreements in place that at least 50% of his workers come from the area. So even if you get an out-of-state contractor that's signatory with our approved apprenticeship programs, most likely we're still going to have local workers. And what do we do?
Well, this is the only job in the world, construction, where the quicker and better you do the job, the quicker you're out of work. Getting laid off is, we know that. We get laid off, we go back to work for a different contractor. So having a good supply of work to keep our members working is really, we're always looking for help in the form of whether it's labor agreements, whether it's apprenticeship programs. Because as we can provide and need more members, where do we recruit from? We recruit by outreaches in the communities that have apprenticeship programs, and that's where your underserved youth come to us. This is not the days of when I got in, my uncles brought me in, or the days before that. Our sons and daughters don't usually follow us in anymore into the trades. And so there's a lot of kids out there that really want an education. And if this was a, just so you know, painter's program, 47 college credits it does qualify for it. So if the kid takes his 5 courses over the 2 years, he can get an associate's degree. I actually was a poor kid from Amsterdam, didn't get the chance to go to college because of the apprenticeship program, because of my union. I was able to go back and I now have a bachelor's in labor administration. So there's a lot of other sidebars to that. Why you want to pass it, because it's good. It's good for the community. And lastly, I want to tell you that somebody's going to come up with a thing and tell you this is a union issue, and it's not. It's not a union or a non-union issue. This is about providing opportunities for kids for an education. And just so everybody knows and is clear, there are more non-union construction apprenticeship courses registered in the state than there are union courses. So this bill doesn't just say, hey, we're going to make all our things $100,000, it's going to go to you. There's no guarantee of that. Those contractors that are out there that have apprenticeship programs registered in the state of New York will be eligible. There will be non-union contractors that bid on your work, that are responsible contractors that train their workers. So thank you very much. I hope you take this up tonight.
Thank you, Jeff. Jeff, if you don't mind, full disclosure, I have an email from you. You sent me the legislation, I believe, last Wednesday.
Yeah, I think so.
Correct.
Yep.
I have the email. Thank you. Hi there.
Hi. My name is Kim Keith. I'm with the local 291. I got into the apprentice program because I hated my job. I needed to go back to school. Couldn't afford to go back to school, work and school, and had 3 children. So when I found out about the program, I applied immediately. I was ecstatic that I could learn and earn. That's what I needed, hands down. So that's why I love the program. I love what I do. And I hope that other people will have the same opportunity that I had, because I don't know what else I would be doing right now. I hated my job, so I'm glad I had this, and I hope you pass the bill so others can come behind me and do the same.
Thank you so much. Yes,
Yeah.
Thank you. Would anyone else like to speak on any item on the agenda? Hi, Bishop.
Good evening.
How are you?
Just on the last item, I would just say, amen.
All right. Thank you, Bishop.
I'm Colleen Keller. I live on 8th Avenue, Troy. I'm a fourth-year apprentice with IBEW Local 236. I started out and I went to college and I graduated. And when I got out, I couldn't find a job here. I spent 2 years going to Virginia to get jobs. This apprenticeship allows me to have a good job where I grew up. And it gives me the opportunity to learn and to hone my craft here. It also gives me the opportunity to have a good wage and benefits. So I ask you to vote yes to the resolution 72 in support of the apprenticeships. Thank you.
Thank you. Would anyone else like to speak on any item on the agenda? Hi there. For the record, Councilmember Parator will not be here for the rest of the meeting and the regular meeting.
Good evening. My name is Leonardo, and I'm with Local 236. I've been in Troy since 1999.
Okay, where do you live, Leonardo?
118th Street.
Okay, thank you.
I was born in El Salvador, so I came here when I was in my 20s. And I used to deliver water for Diamond Spring Water, so I've seen a lot of it.
Yeah. Yeah.
I did that for 14 years and sold the company. And I didn't know what to do, and I was 40 years old. So I went to Hudson Valley and did the ECM program there. That's where I heard about how to join the union for the first time. And I made up my mind right there and then that I was going to finish Hudson Valley and that I was going to the union. The union, so far, is the best thing that has happened to me since I've been in the States.
Awesome.
And, I'm here to ask you to vote yes for Resolution 72. I think it's great for the community. It was great for me, and it will be great for future participants.
That's perfect.
But,
Thank you.
That's it. I hope you vote yes for it.
Thank you, sir. Thank you so much. Would anyone else like to speak on any item on the agenda? All right, we're going to get right into it. Also, just so folks are aware, resolution, the one that many folks have been talking about, Resolution 72. There's approximately 20 items, 24 items on the agenda. They were all sent at the same time. So if something's wrong with Resolution 72, I would say the other 20 resolutions also have an issue. So let's get into it. Ordinance A3. Ordinance.
Council President,
Councilmember Kennedy,
when was the memo of support sent for this legislation?
when I received it from the building
Yesterday.
trades. Yep, we sent it yesterday. The memo in support is the justification
From who?
from the building trades.
Did they provide legislation as well?
They provided it last Wednesday.
So they
That's
provided the legislation last Wednesday,
That's
and
correct.
then you provided the memo of support yesterday.
They provided the memo
So
in
they
support
provided both.
yesterday. That's correct. Yeah.
They provided both.
Yeah, it's a template, Councilmember Kennedy.
Okay.
It's modeled after
read it?
many other municipalities. Sure, have you?
Did you read it?
Have
No,
you?
No.
No? Okay. Yes.
Can we not
Councilmember.
do this tonight?
I
Like,
know.
like, that
It's embarrassing.
No, I am. I'm embarrassed for you.
You know what?
Other future legislation you put forward.
Folks, this is very sad. I received a text from Councilmember Kennedy on Wednesday, September 25th. Hello, fellow council members. This is a council member. I would like to recommend that we suspend city council business until the mayor can appoint members to the Joint Task Force on Sustainability and other boards. The climate change is a crisis. 4 people are on it. I'm not sure who else. So this is a council member who wants to disrupt, suspend council business, and recommend delaying the work of the people. So I'm gonna go right into ordinance 83.
For example.
Ordinance transferring funds within the 2019 SOAR fund budget. Council President Mantello at the request of the administration. Do I have a motion? Motion, Councilmember Garrett. Do I have a second? Second, Councilmember Gully. Discussion. All in favor? Aye. Opposed? 83 carries, 6-0. Ordinance 84. Ordinance transferring funds within the 2019 water fund budget. Council President Mantello at the request of the administration. Do I have a motion? Motion, Councilmember Garrett. Do I have a second? Second, Councilmember Cummings. Discussion. All in favor? Aye. Opposed? Ordinance 84 carries 6-0. Ordinance 85, ordinance amending the 2019 general fund budget to appropriate additional funding from the New York State Governor's Traffic Safety Committee for Child Passenger Safety Program. Council President Mantello at the request of the administration. Do I have a motion? Motion, Councilmember Garrett. Do I have a second? Second, Councilmember Cummings. Discussion. All in favor? Aye. Opposed? Ordinance 85 carries 6-0. Ordinance 86, ordinance amending the 2019 general fund budget to appropriate additional funding from the New York State Governor's Traffic Safety Committee for pedestrian, bicyclist, education, and enforcement. Council President Mantello at the request of the administration. Do I have a motion? Motion, Councilmember Gully. Do I have a second? Second, Councilmember December. Discussion. All in favor? Aye. Opposed? Ordinance 86 carries 6-0. Ordinance 87, ordinance amending the 2019 general fund budget to appropriate additional funding from the New York State Governor's Traffic Safety Committee for police traffic services. Council President Mantello at the request of the administration. Do I have a motion? Motion, Councilmember Cummings. Do I have a second? Second, Councilmember Gully. Discussion. All in favor? Aye. Opposed? Ordinance 87 carries 6-0. Ordinance 88, ordinance declaring certain city-owned property as surplus and directing the comptroller to dispose of said property. Council President Mantello at the request of the administration. Do I have a motion?
I'll make one.
Motion, Councilmember December. Do I have a second? Second, Councilmember Gully. Discussion. Andy, do you want to add anything to this one? Okay. Thank
Why
you.
did they purchase?
Just so folks are aware, I did check with Eric Wisher, the head of the UFA, regarding this, and apparently the masks are not fire retardant and are outdated. It's very odd, but they do have the appropriate equipment. I did ask, do we need to fund more? And I was told no. So it'll go up to surplus. Further discussion? All in favor? Aye. Opposed? Ordinance 88 carries 6-0. Ordinance 89, ordinance amending the capital projects fund budget. Council President Mantello at the request of the administration. Do I have a motion? Motion, Councilmember Cummings. Do I have a second? Second, Councilmember Gully. Discussion?
This is more money for street paving.
That's correct. Further discussion? All in favor? Aye. Opposed? Ordinance 89 carries 6-0. Ordinance 90, ordinance amending the 2019 general fund budget. Council President Mantello at the request of the administration. Do I have a motion? Motion, Councilmember Cummings. Do I have a second? Second, Councilmember Garrett. Discussion. I did see a couple transfers. Yes, Councilmember Cummings.
Yeah, I guess one of the big ones is the legal services.
Yeah.
Update on that.
There's a transfer for more money for legal.
Well,
Yeah.
reducing litigation expenses.
Correct.
And moving into consulting.
Correct.
We still have plenty of litigation expenses.
Yes, there's still, if I remember right, 30. It's at 30, there's plenty of money for the rest of it. It's at least, it's not even half spent. It's like,
What is
I think it's like
litigation
50.
expenses?
So those are like expert witnesses or anything needed to be hired at trial.
Gotcha.
Any other discussion on the transfers?
Council President.
Councilmember.
Yeah, Andy, I'm just looking at the zombie property recoveries. Is that from monies recovered through the city court cases?
Correct.
Okay, so that's great. I think
So that's the live number to date. That's as of whatever, November 26th, that's we've got 29,000.
That's great. Thank you.
Do we have any plans in the works for the dollars that you know of?
I was asked to put the money back into the line for the legal counsel that's working on the
Okay.
cases. So that's, they
Okay.
asked, that's where.
Yeah. Fair enough. Councilmember.
So in other words, that's going back into legal cases, going towards
Correct,
those zombie properties.
yeah, to fund, current contracts with Whitman Osterman, is to fund that line. So that has a specific line just used for that.
Okay.
So it's not commingled. Thank you.
Is that the money from the AG's office?
Correct.
Very good. Councilmember Cummings?
Did I read this correctly that we're adding to the contingency?
Correct?
Okay.
Parking ticket said, well, but the parking ticket consultant was over. That's a collection of the revenues. So I had to appropriately increase the revenue line. And I can go pull money out of contingency when I can increase the revenue. This parking ticket collection very well.
And you may not have the number tonight. How many outstanding you can get it to us if need be? Can you get us the outstanding parking ticket dollars?
I got it.
Very good.
I'll do the bucket thing with you.
Yep, and hopefully it's better, I would say, than a couple of years ago. It should be
It
with
should
the consultant. Okay. Well, any further discussion? All in favor? Aye. Opposed? Ordinance 90 carries 6-0. Thank you, Andy. You might as well hang up there in case. Ordinance 91, ordinance transferring funds within the 2019 garbage fund budget. Council President Mantello, at the request of the administration, do I have a motion? Motion, Councilmember Cummings. Do I have a second?
Second.
Second, Councilmember December, and a third, Councilmember Gully. Ordinance 91, I did have a question, $6,500 to fund the purchase of garbage bins. Councilmember Garrett, we were talking about some garbage bins down by St. Patrick's and North Central. Can you get into that, and would that fund some of these?
So I got a suggestion. So a part of some of the funding from One Troy was to purchase some garbage cans. It's been approved for garbage cans. We haven't purchased them yet. I like the idea that Capitol Loop's been doing. If you walk up and down Fifth or River Street, where they have like the dog garbage and the garbage cans, it looks cleaner. I don't know. To me, it looks like it helps. And then down by 415 River Street, they have the cigarette butt ones. So we're thinking about putting that in the area as well. So it may not even be that we need to use city funding, because there is like $20,000 that is city
Set aside. Very good. Okay. Where would these
Do I
go?
know this, that this is
Yeah.
residential bins?
I believe so. That's
So
a question that
I
then I
did
can
see-
have, Commissioner General Services for the second corner reach out to you guys to let you
did
know
see
where they're
some-
for. I don't know.
Just
I
the
don't know
other day.
specifically where they're for. I just,
Yeah, I did hear just the other day that we were out of the city bins to be.
That-
distributed,
that-
so I
that's
think this is
probably what's
probably
going
to purchase some more of those. We don't know how many, off the top of your head.
Yeah, if you could get the number, and are they for new residences or replacements?
Oh,
Okay.
and I'll
I think the city
have,
just likes to keep the stock.
Renee or Chuck, I'll have Renee or Chuck reach out.
We also find out if they're the same size or possibly larger.
Councilmember Gully, do you mind using the mic? Thank you. Very good.
Possibly smaller.
We just find out what size of the bins are for looking ahead, and we're getting bigger bins for better days, and we're not just standardizing what we have.
Very good.
Bigger bins are worse days, for the record.
So Andy, we want to hear what color, the whole 9 yards.
That's all gonna come from Chuck.
In the next 20 minutes before we pass this, you're very good.
Councilmember?
I do have another question that, we're taking it out of the tipping fees. Wondering if you have a read on where we're at with tipping fees this year.
I'll be looking at it in 2 weeks when I do the quarter.
Okay. Thank you.
Just still trying to get caught up.
Olivia?
Do you have other things you're working on this week?
None, none whatsoever. All right, further discussion? All in favor? Aye. Opposed? Ordinance 91 carries 6-0. Ordinance 92, ordinance amending the 2019 general fund budget. Council President Mantello, at the request of the administration, do I have a motion? Motion, Councilmember Cummings. Do I have a second? Second, Councilmember Garrett. Discussion, this looks like the fireboat grant.
There was some residual funding for the fireboat grant, to buy medical supplies to the associated, I believe, with both the fire chief. That's just, it's already been purchased and it's just been everything amended for. Would have been done last month.
Okay, no problem. Further questions, discussion? All in favor? Aye. Opposed? Ordinance 92 carries 6-0. Ordinance 93, ordinance amending the Code of Troy, Chapter 216-7 for Park Municipal Golf Fees. Council President Mantello, at the request of the administration, do I have a motion? Motion, Councilmember Cummings. Do I have a second? Councilmember Gully. This is offering fall golf fees, a special. It's pretty cool. I believe it's park golf, 18 rounds, $28. Not a bad deal. 18 holes, yeah. 18 holes. It's a good deal. 18 rounds would be a great deal. You know what, Councilmember Gully, I will say one thing. The only problem I have in the fall, it's really hard to find my ball in the leaves, okay?
Use the yellow ones, they're easy in the snow.
Councilmember Gully first, and then
I just want
Councilmember
to say, I
Cummings.
think this is this is a really heads up play by Josh. We compared a lot of the pricing that's out there, this time of year, and everybody puts in a fall deal. And it's about time. He did it last year for a piece of the time. It was very successful. So I'm glad to see us institute this because this will only help the value and the raise the revenue to golf course.
Awesome, I fully concur, and like I said, the only problem in the fall, Councilmember Garrett, you're absolutely right, it can be a little chilly sometimes, but I tend to not golf in the fairway. Don't be talking about my golf game, Councilmember.
I'm sorry, Council President. I just told her that I have a cover and a heater for my golf course, so I don't get affected.
All right.
I am a
Yes, Councilmember,
I'm
yes.
just trying to understand this. I don't play golf. I don't understand what's going on here.
So
it looks to me that there's already a daily rate of basically $28 or less.
What they're doing, they're actually amending for 9 holes in a cart, Monday through Friday, $20. And then 18 holes in cart, $28. It'll go from 10/1 through the 2019 closing.
Where's the 9 holes bit?
On the bottom.
I
Okay.
see. So we're basically creating a special.
A special package to offer.
But residents are already just $20 for 18.
It's for non-residents also.
Right, but I don't see.
Correct. That's
Okay,
just how.
so this
Cart
adds the
additional.
cart. This is
Yeah.
basically you get a cart along
You
with
get the
your.
cart and the golf.
Here's the
cart.
deal, if you wanna,
Alright,
if
that's
you
very
wanna
nice.
save some, steps, you'll take the cart. Probably in the fall, it's a good idea taking that cart,
So it's
especially if you
a fall
golf like.
special, so we offer a cart with your golf.
So they don't fall.
Very reasonable.
Further discussion, I do want to give kudos also to the superintendent, to the deputy mayor, who actually presented this legislation, the administration, for looking ahead, and hopefully people will capitalize on it. Cool. All right, all in favor? Aye. Opposed? Ordinance 93 carries 6-0. Ordinance 94, ordinance authorizing settlement of claim to wit, Nationwide Affinity Insurance Company of America, ASO, Lori Scully plaintiffs, plaintiff versus the city of Troy and Ronald Chaplin Jr. defendants. Council President Mantello, at the request of the administration, do I have a motion?
Motion.
Motion, Councilmember Cummings. Do I have a second?
Second.
Second, Councilmember Belli. Corporation Counsel Caruso, do you want to just brief us on this quick, please?
This is an incident involving a city of Troy truck which struck a parked car that was lawfully parked, owned by plaintiff. Cases like this really don't have a legal defense. There was damages sustained to the vehicle, and under the circumstances, the plaintiff was looking for $3,541 change. Rick Morrissey handled this on behalf of the law department, and he was able to negotiate a settlement of $1,770.58. As with all of these settlements, it's a business. Particularly under the facts of this case, we believe it is the prudent way to dispose of the matter.
Good work. Questions? Discussion? All right, all in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? Ordinance 94 carries 6-0. Ordinance 95, ordinance authorizing settlement of plaintiff with Victoria Lake Brothers versus the City of Troy, New York. Defendant, Council President Mantello, at the request of the administration. This one, folks, you received a couple days ago. I would ask our Corporation Counsel Caruso to brief us on this horrible incident at Leonard House.
Right. I would like to say, Council President, that this ordinance has nothing to do with politics.
Oh, I wasn't saying yours was.
Admittedly, it was submitted late.
Yeah.
There's a reason for that. Before I could come to the city council, I wanted to make sure all my ducks were in a row, all the legal documentation was provided. What I had was a settlement agreement reached at the CAST Conference, the Civil Appeals Settlement Program, back on the 17th, where we agreed to make this deal. But I had to wait for a general release from Victoria Lee Brothers from her attorney. I got that, but what I didn't get was a stipulation of discontinuance. I wanted to make sure everything was wrapped up neatly. The stipulation of discontinuance and the general release cannot be filed. It's being held in escrow until Ms. Brothers' attorneys get the money. But I wanted to make sure I could come here and tell you this. I'm sorry, that this matter is finally resolved. We all know the background of this. It was a horrible injury. This is a tough one because yes, Ms. Brothers was admittedly trespassing. We believe she was high, smoking weed that night before she went up there. And the fact of the matter is this young woman, a minor at the time, did fall backwards off a roof and was permanently injured. Our own examining neuropsychologist concurred with her neuropsychologist that Ms. Brothers had suffered a permanent neurological damage. Now, I've met the woman, and if you met her, she's not, thank God, in a wheelchair. She's not a quadriplegic. You would think that she just wasn't real smart, but she's a pleasant young lady. But we had some real concerns going to trial on this. We had two different Supreme Court justices value the case in the range of $5 million. Now, that's notwithstanding the fact that there would be the issue of comparative negligence, which they'd weigh, which would reduce the award. Based upon my 37 years of practicing law, including over a decade working in Supreme Court, seeing cases just like this, I value this case at settlement between $1.5 and $1.75 million. All right, we knew that if we went to trial, there was the possibility that this young lady would get sympathetic appeal to the jury and they could come back with significant amounts of money. In this case, our insurance coverage was not that high. I'm not laying any blame on anybody, but this is a situation I inherited from Kevin Glasheen, who inherited it from the previous administration, and we don't have a lot of insurance coverage on that issue. We do now, thank God. Prudence took over. So the $1.3 million settlement, which we do believe is a very good settlement, only requires the city of Troy pay what we believe to be the balance of our self-insured reserve, which is $317,000, and that the Argonaut Insurance Company is required to pony up $983,000. To resolve this matter, we do have, as I said, all the documentation to put this thing to rest. The plaintiff and Judge Carpinello, who ran the CASP conference, are aware of the fact that this is not a deal until the city council says it's a deal, until you give your blessing. I'm here asking that the city council ask me any questions you want. I will always answer them honestly, but my recommendation to you as the corporation council is that the city council approve of this settlement.
And Jim, just so you know, I was comparing a $1.3 million settlement to legislation that we've had for 6 days, that's all.
And I do have to make one admission.
Yep.
In section 3, it says the city of Torrey.
Yes.
That's a mistake. That's my daughter. She's Torrey. It's a clearly, I mean,
It was
it's just
a
a
Freudian.
It's just a Detroit. But other than that, I am open to any questions that you might have.
That's fair. And, you know, I must tell you, Jim, this is a long time coming. It happened in 2016, and I know this was one of your top 5 cases. So.
This was, my fears for a big jury award are greater in this case than any of our other cases.
Yeah, which is frightening. So kudos, good work.
Thank you.
Yes, it's a tough nut to swallow at the same time. It certainly is something that I feel I'm certainly supporting to move forward. Would anyone else, do you have any questions?
Council President?
Yes, Councilman.
Which of you is best to sort of get into a little bit more detail in how this self-insured reserve works, how it gets replenished, and how settling this case using that impacts?
I can answer that if Andy wants to jump in. It doesn't get replenished. We had a $500,000 self-insured reserve, which means the first $500,000 awarded to the plaintiff gets paid by the city of Troy before the insurance kicks in. However, the contract insurance allows us to deduct litigation expense from that, including attorney's fees. So our argument was, no, we're not going to pay $500,000. We're going to pay what's left of our SIR on that case, $317,000.
Gotcha. And so it's case by case.
Yes, sir.
Yeah.
It's just case by case. That makes sense.
Any further discussion? Okay, I'll take a.
Sorry, two things. Just to be amended slightly.
Okay. Do I have, we did before. Do I have a motion? Motion, Councilmember Garrett. Do I have a second? Second, Councilmember Cummings will continue the discussion.
Just one last question on that insurance.
Absolutely.
How does the reinsurance work in terms of, do settlements like this impact our rate on that insurance in going into the future?
This claim, I am sure, was taken into account when we got our new insurance policy. How exactly that works as far as the premiums, and that's really a question for the insurance carrier to answer. But yes, in fact, every year Andy asks me to do a summary of all our cases for our audit. But the insurance companies also ask, because they're going to take that into account in terms of the risks the city of Troy poses to them as an insurance carrier.
Like car insurance.
Exactly. Thank you.
It's a $500,000 deductible.
Yes.
Correct? Very good. Further discussion? Okay, good work, Jim.
Thank you.
You're welcome. All in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? Ordinance 95 carries 6-0. We'll go into the resolutions. Resolution 68, resolution authorizing the implementation and funding in the first instance 100% of federal aid and state Marcuselli program aid eligible costs of a transportation federal aid project and appropriating funds therefore. Council President Mantello, at the request of the administration, do I have a motion?
Motion.
Motion, Councilmember Cummings. Do I have a second? Second, Councilmember Garrett. This is the long-awaited Saturday Industrial Road. I would ask if the deputy mayor or Steve Strikeman's around. Ah, even better. How are you?
Very well.
Beautiful. Thank you so much.
Steve is out in
Yeah.
Rochester for a conference.
Oh, okay. Oh, the planning conference. I forgot about that. Yep.
What this does is it allows the city to receive from the federal government the construct. What this does
You
is
can pull it right out. That's easier.
it allows the city to accept from the federal government the last phase of this project's funding, which is the construction and construction inspection portion. There is one correction on the memo. That came from Steve Strikeman. It provided the total cost of the construction inspection estimate. However, the federal funding being accepted is $3,638,460. I've got a revised memo.
Oh, thank you. He's going to pass it around. But it is $3,068,460, correct?
Yes, there's a local share of 1,200,000 that is represented in the total amount, so that's backed off.
Okay. So the 4 million, I take it, is an incorrect number, 4.8.
Yes, in the state local agreement, it has the correct numbers, where on Schedule A, it will show the total of $3,638,460 for the federal share, and the NPS share, which is local share, 1.2 million.
And how's our timeline going, and anything new?
Our
Please.
timeline is pending on October letting. That's what we're scheduled for.
Okay.
The Department of Transportation is just waiting for our last signatures for right of way from the county and the county IDA. That's the
And
only thing outstanding right now. For
is
permanent
that
easement,
moving forward, the ROWs?
we've continually daily asked the county to execute the documents, and we're told that they're being processed.
If you need us to pass a
We would
resolution
love you to.
imploring, we'd be
That works
happy
really
to.
well. That would be wonderful. If you could have collective support to
It's a
request from the county, just put some.
We
pen on
tried.
paper.
Anything else that you should add?
For this, it's a straight funding requirement that is just pro forma.
Yep.
If there's any questions that I can answer on the project itself, I'm happy to do so.
No, I mean, we're psyched. I'm psyched certainly for the October letting, and hopefully we can just get this project 25 years or more, 30 years rolling. Further discussion? Thank you so much. All in favor? Aye. Opposed? Resolution 68 carries 6-0. Resolution 70. Resolution of the City of Troy, New York, authorizing the issuance of an additional $900,000 serial bonds to finance the cost of a pedestrian connector at Riverfront Park. Council President Mantello, at the request of the administration, do I have a motion?
I'll make a motion.
Motion, Councilmember Kennedy. Do I have a second?
Second.
Second, Councilmember Cummings. Monica or anyone wanna fill us in on, perfect, thanks, Ian. Thank you. Hey, no problem.
That's a good thing.
It's okay, it's okay.
I came back
Monica.
alive, so you know it's good.
That's a good thing. This certainly, I attended the planning charrette meeting, and certainly that led to this. This is, I mean, obviously, bonding, it's a big step, but this certainly complements the seawall, and it's a necessary project, and it certainly is near and dear to my heart to really use the waterfront to capitalize on everything from economic development to trails. And so Monica, I guess the big thing, do we have to do a seeker for this tonight or no? Because I didn't see that. Okay, want to fill us in?
Yeah, so there, you've already passed the bond resolution on this project. This is just to extend it. We got the bids back in late last week. It did come in over budget, but we also need to remember that this grant was applied for in 2014. So there's been a few labor increases and some other cost of goods increases. So it is a great project. I will tell you that we had 4 or 5 contractors apply for it and put bids in for it. They were very competitive, so we know we have good pricing. It's actually a good shoulder season project. So when some of the others get laid off, some of the seasonal employees get laid off. This is for a lot of the supers and stuff like that, is what we're assuming, because it is it's a shoulder season project right now. There are some things, the alternate 1, 2, and 3, the CSO compliance for the porous paving. We know we have the CSO component that we always have to be aware of. This is on our waterfront. It is something that we will take into consideration. We wanted to add it as an alternate because we really want to make sure maintenance-wise we have this covered. Porous pavement, porous concrete is a very high maintenance installation. So we want to make sure that we're all good, because if you don't maintain it, it doesn't do any good because the water just rolls off anyway.
Do we have to do the porous
We
pavement?
don't. This was something that we added to make it a greener project. So we still have
I mean, I
this
love porous pavement, but it is very high maintenance. Correct. They're having problems up north with it.
This will be a signature project. The lighting is amazing. It will complement the marina. This is where the main marina is going to be in this area. It will also complement the existing seawall that we're building right now. Keep in mind that the seawall, where it used to have a 6 to 8 foot fence behind Browns and that whole area, is not going to have that now. So you're going to have a beautiful vista. You're going to have a beautiful view from that area. This is also redoing the entire parking lot as well. So not only are we going to improve the park and the ribbon park of that, we'll also improve our city infrastructure.
And the trail connection also.
Yes, this will be the extension of the bike trail. The seawall project has the walkway that will go behind or in front of, however you want to think about it, Dinosaur Barbecue, connecting Riverfront Park proper, behind Dinosaur Barbecue to Riverfront Park North is what we're calling this, to the marina. And then part of the seawall project, of which is also on the regular agenda tonight, this will actually extend up to the hotel. So you'll be able to walk from Sam Judge's property eventually, so Monument Square, all the way up to the hotel. People who come by ship or by boat will be able to walk the path and get to the hotel, get to the restaurant, get to everything that they need to get to.
And Monica, I know there were some concerns at that meeting with the dinosaur folks and Chris, Ryan over at Ryan's Wake. Have they been subsided?
Correct. There was a traffic concern. So back of the house, in front of the house, right? So back of the house for that crew over there in the restaurant districts, their trucks come in and go south. So the traffic though, if we made all traffic south, because the traffic has to be one way with the addition of the new parking. Originally, this concept had no parking along the wall, and we added parking back to it. But they wanted to go south. But the problem was we had our traffic engineer take a look at it as a whole and looked at the Green Island Bridge, the intersections of Fifth Avenue and King Street and that whole area. And the recommendation was for the traffic to go north to Jacob Street and come out on Jacob, because that would allow people to come down and go around to get north, easier than waiting at the Green Island Bridge and create a traffic issue at the Green Island Bridge. We have to traffic out of the parking lot, as well as traffic coming in. And then traffic coming out of the parking lot would never be able to go north until they went downtown and came all the way back around. So that was one of the considerations. I know that was one of the things that they had voiced. But we redesigned it so that we allowed for their trucks to be able to make the turn radius coming in the Green Island parking lot and then going north so that they can get back out safely as well too.
That's awesome. And the ADA compliance, the dinosaur, will that be wide enough for wheelchairs, et cetera? Yep. And is that going on the side of the sea? How is that going?
Right on
to
top
work?
of the seawall.
On top of the seawall.
Yeah, so where you
Okay.
see the extension of the seawall pulls out about this far. That literally will be a walk path. We'll have the fence will extend all the way down behind. We're actually pricing out brand new fencing for the park as well too. So it'll be one continuous, beautiful riverfront walk.
This is just really, really exciting. Obviously, the 400K increase, it's a tough one, but at the same time, it's a very old brand. And yeah, but it's a great project. Would anyone else, questions, discussion, Monica?
Yeah, a couple questions.
Yes, Councilmember.
One, just want to get clear on the alts. So at this point, we're funding them, but you're not sure which of them we're gonna actually go through with? Is that
Correct,
the
and
idea?
we'll also value engineer. If there's an option for us to find a similar product at a different price, we'll always value
Careful what
engineer.
you're value engineering.
Which is why we're value engineering after. So, no, and it's, but you know, like, so there was, or equivalents, like, right, so the lighting was spec or equivalent, so we need to take a look at that. If they found an equivalent that has the same aesthetic, that provides the same, you know, measurements of lights and all that other kind of stuff, then we'll certainly take a look at that and be able to find it. The porous pavement, I will tell you, that is something that we really have to take a look at just for purely maintenance.
Where would it
purposes.
drain besides right to that anyway?
Well, the problem is you don't want it to be, I mean, you just want it
Right,
to
but in
drain,
that
but there's a
location-
green spot, there's green there, there's greenery, so you try to pull it into the greenery and make sure that it's almost like a rain garden.
Gotcha.
Okay.
Is the idea to cut down the existing trees there and just totally replace that?
Everything will be brand new.
Okay.
Right, brand new benches, brand new lights, brand new everything. It'll be beautiful.
Further discussion? All right. Monica, thank you very, very much. And, and we're breaking ground in the fall, correct? Otherwise, the state grant is
Correct.
potentially
If
in
you pass
jeopardy.
this tonight,
Yeah.
We will send everything over tomorrow and we will
Very
sign the contracts tomorrow. We've
Very
already
good.
met with the contractor just to make sure they had all their MWBE. There are MWBE requirements for this grant, so we met with them to make sure that they were able to meet all of those as well too. So they already met with the contractor last week.
Are the MWBE subcontractors?
Yes.
Okay.
Yep.
Councilmember Gary.
So when you start working, is it gonna start on the side closest to like ground or the opposite side? I'm only asking because if you park back there, like when you go into, like, when I go to work, that trip, terrible, like now, so just kind of hear myself.
So a lot of so what we're also gonna do, so a lot of that congestion down there now is CP Perry from the seawall.
Yeah.
So as that ramps down, we'll try to move their operations down towards Monument Square, where they are staging now. So we'll try to, they're gonna have to move their job trailer and everything because they were not the successful bidder. So they have to move their job trailer out of the work zone site and then we'll be working on that. And we'll look at the Green Island parking lot a little bit and see how we can maybe work with that as a different basis than what it is right now.
Council President.
Yes, Councilmember Cummings.
I'll just keep advocating for, certainly with the bigger Green Island parking lot, the concept of a two-level lot there. And
I love
if-
the concept of a building with a two-level parking lot.
Yeah, and so
Personally.
putting a lot of investment in that lot now, it's not that much on the contingency here, so it's not that concerning.
And we purposely didn't redesign it because of that thought that we would probably redo it later on. We are also doing, keep in mind that the implementation program where they're redesigning those 4 areas of the city, you know, Riverfront Park, the Green Island entrance, you know what I mean, all those areas. So this area will fall into that, and that's why we just did a repaving of the parking lot, not a redesign.
Great.
There's one tree we're taking out just for that turning radius for those vehicles that we talked about, but other than that, it's not, we might do some beautification to it, but that's about it.
And the other, I don't know what it would take, whether it would require rebidding or what in terms of scale. I do wonder about the added value of that core section, sort of right behind Brown's. It's got a sidewalk, it's got some well-groomed trees, you know. I know we're making some incremental improvements as this is designed, but particularly if there's a potential of building a bigger parking deck there, then we could go back to the design that was much broader pathway and everything else. And so I wonder about maybe focusing this engineering on the marina section under the Green Island Bridge and up at where the old marina was, the 2 ends of it. If there might be some opportunity to not redo the sidewalk where it's honestly in decent shape, right where, sort of behind.
Aren't you
But the sidewalk is on the riverside.
Yeah.
The sidewalk is going to be on the riverside with the green park behind it, along the parking lot.
Yeah, that's what I'm talking about. Where it is right now, isn't it?
Yeah, so why would I not redo the sidewalk?
Because it's in fine shape.
But it won't be.
Why won't it be?
Well, because we're gonna make it wider, first of all.
Okay.
And then we're gonna add additional pieces.
Just in your value engineering, think about,
Sure.
can we make use of
Absolutely.
what's already there, for now, with a vision towards, using these dollars in the places that we're talking about major transformation, and then
Some of that might
doing
also
another
be
phase.
ADA issue too. we're gonna have to, for the ADA, in order to get down, like, so underneath.
Right, so
the
under the Green
Island
Island Bridge, totally get it, that's definitely necessary now. Redesigning around where the showers and the electricity and all that, so that it can tie in with the Marina project, totally get it, definitely necessary now. Between those, I'm not as positive that it's needed to, I don't know what exactly is needed, so just.
But you also remember, so we have a Marina project too, that's gonna dovetail into
Yeah.
this project as well, it's almost gonna be simultaneous, so we get those bids
Right.
back on the 21st, I believe. So once we get those back, there's gonna be a lot of simultaneous work, so it'll be an interesting project, we have like 3 contractors on this one. But yes, anywhere we can take a look at value engineering, we will certainly do so. And as you did note, on the bottom of that too, we are looking for alternative funding sources as well to offset the cost.
I just, I remember what happened with Riverfront Park, in terms of
Or what didn't.
transformation, that ended up in a place with less trees and certainly I think it's growing into a very useful park for people, but, I think I wanna make sure we're using our money wisely here.
Absolutely, and I'll be the first one to advocate for a more mature tree to be put set in place, like a bigger diameter than a smaller diameter, so.
And Monica, north, are where the showers and restrooms are going, correct?
Yeah.
So they will not be on the southern end.
No, the only thing on the southern end is the Marina Dockmaster shed itself.
Very
And we put the Marina Dockmaster shed there because A, the parking lot is there, it makes a little bit more sense. But also because the fire boats and the public safety boats will go under the Green Island Bridge. So we wanna make sure that we have, eyes and ears on those. So when you walk up to go down the gangplanks, the fire boat will be to the left with a lock and a gate, and then the other one will be there, and the Dockmaster shed will be right there.
I was actually curious about that. When the rescue squad truck comes to take over the boat, what's the plan in terms of where they'll leave it, but to not block traffic in the new constraint?
Well, they can pull it into the parking lot.
So they'll just park down there, a little further down in the parking lot,
They'll park wherever they want.
of course.
Anything you know about the fire trucks, they'll park wherever they want.
It works pretty well at the old location of the marina. Is what I'm saying, in that area, it was a wide enough travel lane where they were able to pull off and people could still get through. Under the bridge there, not so much.
Well, they'll pull it, they won't go under the bridge. The under the bridge is just gonna be a single lane.
Right.
I mean, I can't even take it just pedestrian, no,
Further discussion, Monica, thank you very, very much. Very exciting project. Further discussion, all in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? All right. Bond Resolution 70 passes 6-0. Resolution 71, resolution appointing Commissioner Dees for the City of Troy. Council President Mantello, not at the request of the administration. Let's do a motion, a second, then I have to amend it. Do I have a motion?
Motion.
Motion, Councilmember Cummings, do I have a second?
Second.
Second, Councilmember Gully, I will amend to add Marianne Jewett. I will not state your address on the mic here, but you have it in front of you. Do I have a motion? Motion, Councilmember Garrett, do I have a second?
Second.
Second, Councilmember Gully, discussion. All in favor on the amendment? Aye. Opposed? All right, 6-0 on the amendment, on the amended resolution. Do I have a motion?
I'll make a motion.
Motion, Councilmember Kennedy, do I have a second?
Second.
Second, Councilmember Garrett, discussion. All in favor? Aye. Opposed? All right, resolution 71 passes 6-0. We're on to resolution 72, what you've all been waiting for. Resolution 72, resolution authorizing the requirement of contractors and subcontractors on construction contracts to have approved apprenticeship agreements. Council President Mantello, Councilmember December, do I have a motion? Motion, Councilmember Garrett, do I have a second? Second, Councilmember Cummings, discussion. I just want to say, as the wife of a husband who is a local 236 member, he's not as young as all of you. He's toward the tail end, maybe Frank. I know, that's why I mentioned it, Frank. But I have been dating and married to this fine man. when he started in the union. And it was remarkable because I was shocked when he actually had classes. He didn't have to pay, but he had to be there. And the regimen and the routine and the sacrifice that all of you make, because I saw it. He was working days, and then in the evening, he would attend class, and it was pretty rigorous, and it was a 5-year program. He came out, journeyman, you name it, and here he is almost 30 years later. What I've seen is a shortage of skilled workers like that. And as I think Jeff mentioned, you know, a lot of younger people, they don't think welding or electrician or labor, you know, their minds are Snapchatting and maybe STEM and going into the technological field. So this I feel very, very strongly about. I was surprised that it did expire. I did not know that. I also did a lot of research, and I realized the $200,000, bringing it down to $100,000 will open the door to more projects. Saying that, I'm really excited about this. The tax stuff, we want to keep them here in Troy. We want to hire local. This promotes that. And I do see a lot of generational. While my son won't follow his dad's footsteps, I do know a lot of folks do. And so I applaud all of you, your family, your brotherhood, and I applaud all of you. So saying that, Frank is here to answer any questions if you have any, or Jeff. So does anyone have questions or discussion?
Are you gonna ask for a motion to bring the?
We did a motion in a second. We already did.
Well, I'm gonna make a motion to table legislation.
Okay, we have a motion on the floor to table. Is there a second? Sorry. Further discussion?
Council President?
Yes, Councilmember.
I was proud to put my name on this resolution as well. Over the last year and a half, we've been exploring this this resolution, doing some research. I've had an opportunity to visit some of the apprenticeship training programs on site, and I think there are folks here who helped facilitate me and get us to those areas to see the work firsthand with the operating engineers as well as the carpenters, to show the work that they do and the training they provide, and just to see so many Troy residents here that are participating in the program, and so many faces of a younger generation getting involved. We have, over the last, since 2016, according to the Department of Labor, seen an increase in the total number of apprenticeship programs over the years, starting in 46 programs in 2016 and moving up to 101 back in 2018. So these increases show that this program is working, and I will be voting yes in favor of it.
Awesome. Further discussion, Councilmember Garrett and then Councilmember Campos.
I just wanted to say I'm so excited for this. I feel like this is one of the reasons why I submitted my resume. So I want to be a part of this council stuff, so we can actually feel like we're doing something at the end of the day. And I'm especially excited because there's a whole bunch of females that
Girl power!
And then I love the fact that there's a lot of minorities, because a lot of people don't want to necessarily go to school to be a doctor. Some people just want to do a trade and want to be able to have that trade and feel like they're actually improving somebody's life, whether it's theirs, their families, or just having to fix some money plumbing in their house. So I appreciate the fact that all of you guys came out here and in support of this resolution.
Awesome.
So yeah, like my colleague, Councilman December, I had an opportunity to visit a couple training sites, and certainly have been really excited about this concept for a while. I was interested in hearing a little bit from the union about how you anticipate doing the recruitment here in Troy. We're really interested in how we can build local jobs here. And I think there's a lot of ways in which we plan to work together on that. I think if someone could come and talk a little about what you're already doing and what a resolution like this would enable you to do here in Troy.
Absolutely. Andrew or Frank or Jeff?
That speak for Mayor?
Yeah. And before you speak, Councilmember Garrett would like to dovetail a question.
I actually love what Councilmember just said, especially because there are kids that don't know what they're gonna do if they're in high school right now. So it'd be nice to see if it was some kind of bridge program or something, right? Like while they're in high school, they're in Troy High, if they're in Lansburg High, just giving them the opportunity, because we do college tours, right? Everybody don't want to go to college, but giving them that opportunity to get to say, well, this is something that you have an option of doing. I know it was I don't remember what local it was, I forgot what organization it was, but it was a flyer that they had going around, and I personally was passing around to the kids in my community, especially District 2, just so they can go and sign up. I think it was like every third Monday or something like that, you can come and get some free trainings, or just I guess it was almost like a workshop to know about the apprenticeship program. So it'd be nice to see some kind of bridge program.
So we currently work with many organizations, and I would start naming them, but I'll tell you, I'll forget, all right? One of the main ones is, we have a 6-year project labor agreement with the city of Albany, the Albany School District. They have hired an outreach coordinator like Mission Accomplished. We work with the County of Albany, with the EEO officers, and we do outreaches there. Rensselaer County, we do school outreaches, we do community outreaches through BOCES. We do, what's the other, the Brookins Center, which we're on the advisory board for. In the past, we've been involved with in school mentoring with classes that go with the 11th to 12th grade. Plus, anybody that asks us, we're going to come do a recruitment. For lack of a better thing, somebody from the planning or whatever department is asks us, come in and run an outreach, please, in downtown Albany, gives us a space, we'll do it.
Hey, Jeff, on that, would you be willing even to go to, like, say, a Troy neighborhood advisory? Perfect, because that's
Sure.
where all the neighborhoods are to talk
Sure.
about. Perfect.
So how the apprenticeship works is that we have performance contracts with our contractors to give them the best and the brightest. What I found is the best and the brightest always aren't in front of you, right? You have to search for them.
Mm-hmm.
And a lot of times, even though the Department of Labor has on their apprenticeship website, they have all the information. As I've been working recruiting in the last 4 or 5 years, really effectively, is I'm amazed how many people don't know how to get to the trade. And it's not a secret. You go on the Department of Labor, you look, you're interested in the trades, has the recruitments there, but that's not enough. So we're partnered with church groups, we're partnered with activists in the community, and people go, well, why do you do that? Because it benefits us. Because we're still on the lookout for people that are really motivated, that want more than a job, that want a career. So we're turning all the stones over looking for everyone because it benefits us. And if, believe me, we'll come and do one in your neighborhood, not because it benefits you. It benefits us more than it benefits you.
Absolutely.
Right? So
Thank you, Jeff. Thank you. Frank, did
Sure,
you?
Let me just add, I want to add to that too, and just to let you know what Local 7 does, and I know the other locals do it too. We've done radio spots, TV spots, we have websites, we got Twitter, we conduct career days, We had an open house. What was it, Mark, like a year and a half ago, right at our training facility? The place was packed. And so we've been really trying to be aggressive in our outreach. And one of the problems, I was reading a report the other day, you know, these high school kids, these guidance counselors don't know about the apprenticeship programs, not informing these kids it's available. You know, where they go is their choice. What they want to do with their lives is their choice. But a lot of them later on say, I didn't know we even had an apprenticeship program. So I think there you can strengthen up that communication there. So these kids coming out of, you know, high school or even in their early years in college know about the trades. It's an option for them.
Absolutely. Thank you so much, Frank. Thank you, Jeff. Yes, Councilmember, guys,
If you don't mind, I'd like to get your card before you leave, sir.
Frank, Jeff,
Jeff?
they're gonna hang around, I believe.
Yeah,
but
you're gonna hang
before
around,
you
but I like
leave-
getting your card for you tonight. I just like to say that, back in the '70s, when the technology wasn't so great, I was brought into the Masons Union under an apprenticeship program. And as the young speaker spoke, I was a young guy, a long time ago. And it was a great experience for me. Although I only stayed in the trade for 3.5 years because I had been offered a really easy job. Plus, I just got finished doing a 40-yard pour at RPI with a black finish. And I had to sweat to get my trowel to move. And I decided that maybe, just maybe, you know, I wasn't tough enough. But I will tell you what, it was a great experience for me. And, you know, my sons have learned from it. I still have, believe this or not, I still have my bag of trowels and my white bag with the leather pocket in it. And my string, I got everything. You know, my strikers. And it was a great experience for me. And I want to talk about the second experience, which means a lot to me. In 2017, when I reached out to the Masons Union and the Pipe Fitters Union, I said, hey, we have a problem in Troy. We have pools that are closed, and I'd like your help. The union representatives, of which are here tonight, stood up and said, well, we can incorporate our apprentice program to some of our guys. We'd be willing to offer that labor to help. The union stood up and wanted to help us here back 2 years ago. And I applaud you for that. And I applaud the way your loyalty comes around and goes around. Thank you for what you are, and I'll be happy to pass this tonight.
Yeah.
Further discussion, we're gonna do slow roll. Councilmember Gully.
Yes.
Councilmember Garrett.
Of course.
Councilmember Parator is absent. Councilmember Cummings.
Yes.
Councilmember December.
Aye.
Councilmember Kenneth.
I understand.
Okay. And Council President Mantello, I was asked to read a letter, a very, very short one, don't worry, from Jay McBain. Good afternoon, and I hope everything is going well with your family. Okay. I wanted to take the time to request that you and your committee members push forward and vote yes on this resolution number 72, requiring the use of New York State approved apprentice programs. Requiring the use of approved apprentice programs assures the city and its residents that they will receive the very best workmanship and safe working environment available. The New York State approved apprenticeship programs assure that workers receive the utmost training available in this fast changing technology of today's construction. There are hundreds of young residents from the city of Troy that have entered into apprenticeships in the past few years, and the numbers are growing with the shift of our younger generation leaning towards trade schools due to the increasing cost of college. I will be trying to meet tonight, but sign Jay McBain. So just for the record, we could enter that, and I enthusiastically support this, and I think all of the unions, IBEW, carpenters, plumbers, apprising us of the prior legislation, how it could be amended to actually work here in the city of Troy. So thank you. I vote yes. Resolution 72 passes 5 ayes, 1 absent, 1 abstain. It has passed. we're going to take a 2-minute break, but I need a motion to adjourn. Motion tied, Councilmember Garrett, Councilmember Gully, do I have a second? Second, Councilmember Cummings, all in favor? Aye. Opposed? We'll be going into the regular meeting in about 2 to 3 minutes. Thank you.